Good evening. Happy Sunday, everyone. Kamusta kayo dyan? Mag-isa lang ako tonight because mukhang nautusan magluto yung aking co-host na si Jeremy. But anyway, we're still going to have a special night tonight. We have a special guest from Teach for the Philippines, okay? And the topic tonight is all about leadership in times of crisis, no? So she will talk about how teachers can lead, yan, in times of pandemic. But before we bring her in, okay, I'd like to greet some people. Good evening, Cassiopeia. Good evening, Aida. Good evening, Nis. Good evening, Rochelle, Largado, and Shana. Good evening sa inyo and good evening to everyone watching right now. Alright, so how's everyone? Hope you had a great dinner. Tomorrow is another day, you know? Monday na naman bukas, but it's something to look forward to. Okay, so without further ado, ipapasok na natin yung guest natin tonight. None other than Miss Lynette Torres. Good evening, Lynette. How are you?
Good evening, Jeff. I'm good. Sa mga nanonood ngayon, happy Sunday sa inyo. And I also hope the same that you had a good dinner or a good weekend with your family and loved ones.
Yon. So, okay, Lynette, nabanggit ko kanina, you are from Teach for the Philippines and we will talk about how teachers can lead in times of pandemic, no? Siguro feeling ko kulang pa yon. So, tell us more about yourself.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. So, again, hello to our viewers. I'm Lynette Torres from Teach for the Philippines. I've been working with Teach for the Philippines as an instructional coaching manager for the past 3 years. I'm a teacher by profession, so that's where I also met Jeff.
Yes, tama.
We were co-teachers before in a progressive school. So what I do now is more of training and coaching and managing teachers who are with Teach for the Philippines and are deployed in the public schools around the Philippines.
Around the Philippines. Sige, explain natin, ano? Kasi ang unang impression ko noon is that ang tinetrain nyo ay public school teachers already. And then, mali pala ako, no? Hindi pala lahat ito ay teachers to begin with. Tama ba? Hindi sila lahat nag-take ng eduk programs, no? Sige. So, can you give us a profile of yung mga graduates? Are they fresh graduates? Yan. And ano yung profile nila?
Yeah, okay. So actually, Jeff, what we started with is called the fellowship program. So we have different programs. The first one is the fellowship program, and that one is open to both EdUc majors and non-EdUc majors, as long as you're a graduate of a 4-year degree. You can be part of the fellowship program. As to their profile, iba-iba din. We have fresh graduates. We also have young professionals who have had experience na. May mga iba mas matagal na, actually matagal na rin iba yung trabaho, but as long as they have passion for teaching, they can join the program. We select and train them to be able to have the basics of teaching and to be equipped with the knowledge to take the LET. So parang we have a partner university that's working with us para mabigyan sila ng units that they need before we deploy them. I mean, as we deploy them to the public school.
I see.
But we also have another program. This one is a new one. We just started in 2018, where it's a 2-year leadership development program for the public school teachers na. So, meron kaming yung bagong program namin called the Public School Teacher Pathways, which we we target yung mga nasa DepEd na, they can undergo the leadership development that Teach for the Philippines offers.
Okay. So, meron kayong tinitrain for deployment. Tama?
Yes.
Tapos, meron naman kayong leadership program doon sa existing public school teachers. Okay.
Yes.
Kung ako nanggaling ako, na-train mo na ako sa Teach for the Philippines, can I still join that program ng leadership program ko nang nasa public school na ako?
Kung magtutuloy ka, you mean? Parang
Yes, oo. Or
kung
nandun na ako.
okay.
Oo.
Um, as of now, what we target for the public school teacher pathways program are those who have been in the service for a long time na. So usually, if you don't, if you finish the fellowship program dahil 2 years lang yun, you won't parang be eligible na for the public school teacher pathways. Kasi, so just to recap, why we also offered that new program is because a lot of our teachers in the public school, parang they've, expressed their interest. Paano ba yan? Gusto ko rin pong matrain sa Teach for the Philippines. Ayoko pong mawala yung item ko sa DepEd. So, kasi syempre, item na nila yun di ba?
Yes.
So, they can still join and, we still train them. We do also coaching with them. So, yeah. So, medyo similar lang siya with the fellowship program, except the competencies are a little bit different, but mostly it's kind of the same look. Parang ganun.
Okay. Sige. So before we go, I guess my main question is how teachers can lead during times of pandemic. Siguro tell us more about what you do. Kasi alam ko, umiikot ka. No? You go to different provinces sa iba't ibang sulok. Tell us about your experiences. No? Maybe you can also give us an insight, no, of how the other places in the Philippines will do their what do you call this? The remote learning, no? Last week, nalaman ko na a town or a barangay here, or I think a town, no, in Tarlac, will do will use the radio, no, the airwaves, in order for them to deliver the lessons or at least explain the module. So, tell us about your experience. Ano yung nalaman mo?
Okay. So, ever since this pandemic started, all our partner schools, so we call them our partner schools, and we've been gathering information about their chosen delivery mode. What I can share is amongst the placements that, or at least with our partner school, most of them talaga namang modular ang approach. So, yun yung at least for the regions, yun yung pinaka-popular na delivery mode that they are looking into. Some are
modular? Sorry. When you say modular, ano siya?
Since most of them, so just to backtrack, no, Jeff, kasi the department also administered a survey.
Yes.
Tapos they asked about the access of their communities. Yes, to their students about what is available. Unfortunately, dun sa data natin, maliit lang talaga yung population na may access with online technology. Some even, for example, I know some of my placements, even mobile data is difficult.
Malabo,
So, ang nagiging approach ngayon is modular, meaning they would print out modules for the teachers. I mean, for the students. The teachers are going to distribute them, and then some parang ang nagiging arrangement nila is teacher would check. So parang 1 week sa bahay with the guide of the parents, and then the teachers would, get the workbooks back, parang ganyan, the modules back, check, and give feedback, tapos next week ulit, ganun. So mostly talaga, nasa ganun yung pinaglalaroan nila. But I think, depende rin kasi yung ibang places sa country, di ba, mas mababa yung quarantine measures, I would suppose. Parang ganun. So, but still, just checking pa about what is available to them. I know some of our placements are also looking into radio. But parang marami pang kinks na wino-work out as to
Yeah.
how that would operate.
Yeah. Okay, sige, salamat, no. So I'll be asking our viewers muna, in your area, paano ba yung mode of delivery? Paano ba yung mode of learning? I want to hear from our viewers, no. We have one from Quirino Province watching from our
Mhm.
YouTube, SDO Quirino. So paano sa inyo, no? Dito naman, well, DepEd Manila, medyo malaking chance na naka-internet sila, I guess, no? Meron din tayo someone from, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cassiopeia from, ano ba? Si Cassiopeia from CDO yata, parang
Hi,
ganun, if I'm
ma'am.
not mistaken.
Hi.
So,
Hello po. We have partner schools in Cagayan de Oro, ma'am.
ayan. Oo, so marami, no? So, bati muna tayo before I ask my very important question. So, ayan, bati tayo sa kanila kay Rochelle. Ayan, nabati natin kanina. Si Angeli,
Hello,
good evening.
ma'am.
Kay Klang.
Ayan.
Yan. Si Cassiopeia, finally, I am not missing this. Oo nga, last year, sayang, na-miss ni Cassiopeia yung ating magandang discussion. Uh, Good evening. Yes, Edward, good evening to you. Si Rebecca from Manila. Si,
Good evening po.
si,
Salamat sa pagsama
oh,
sa atin today.
yes, si Joanna, good evening. Si Karen, yan, si Susan, si Andrea, yan, magbati muna ako sa inyo. Si Bene, si Irene, si Myrene, si Harley Green. Yan, where is Harley Green from? Uh, Ave, Reynaldo, good evening to you. Tama, si Cassiopeia is from CDO. So, thank
Hello,
you for
ma'am.
watching. Yeah, so, yun. So, Lynette,
Mm-mm.
so, how can teachers lead in times of pandemic? Do you have some pointers for them? Well, based on your experience, sige, go fire.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think I want to share that first and foremost, I think leadership, especially at this time, should be grounded on empathy. So I think that's my first na gusto kong i-share in sa naging experience ko din working with our partner teachers, with our we call them our teacher fellows. We have to understand first where they are coming from. Aside from the strategy aside, it should be empathy that we have to think about parang what is the situation of these people, the parents, for example. We are going to rely on them to help us, with their children's education. Parang we can't do this without the parents. So we
Okay.
need to learn, we need to understand what are the concerns of the parents pa. And secondly, yun din, teachers. I think we need to listen to them first. All of us in the education sector, we hope the same thing. We want to give excellent education to our students, but at the same time, I think it's important that we're giving them a space to voice out their challenges or their concerns. Just hearing parang stories from the field, that's always something that's striking to me eh. Kasi iba yung context nila eh. We have island schools, for example, and the concerns of our teachers. Ma'am, walang signal dito. Paano ko ba
Oo.
mada-download yung CG, yung curriculum guide ni DepEd? Paano ko po 'to ipi-print para magkaroon ng materials yung aking mga estudyante? So, yun parang I think that's really important. We give them space, we listen to them because they would have different they need to know their context before we strategize, before we think of what strategy is the best, because it's not going to be the same. We have to be flexible in the way that we would think about how we can continue learning at this point in time. Um, yeah. Secondly, I think aside from with just focusing on empathy, I think it's also important that we use data In TFP, we strongly believe in using data to guide us in the direction that we're taking. I acknowledge that DepEd has had efforts at the start of, this pandemic to really, check the scope. Ano ba talagang nangyayari sa atin? Ano ba yung available na resources? Um, and I think there's a wealth of data that we have yet to capture. So that's something that we have to think about. And I think it's not just the responsibility of the department, but also, we need the help of our LGUs. We need the help of our community to help us collect these data
The data.
points. Mm-hmm.
Yon. So empathy, data, being able to listen, yan yung mga importante, ano. So
Mm-hmm.
having the skills, having the empathy, having data, what else do teachers need so that they can effectively lead kaya their students towards learning, no? Kasi there's a right now, since this is new, I'm sure yung learning curve natin ay medyo steep.
Yeah.
Medyo 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 maninibago tayo eh.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any other things that at least in their toolbox they need to have? Tama ka, I think no sinabi mo that technology aside, marami pa tayong dapat internally or intrinsically maraming dapat idagdag. Any other points you need to you want to add, no?
Yeah, I think there are two things that, at least in my experience, is
Yeah.
helpful as we move forward. It's the importance of collaboration,
Collaboration.
acknowledging that, this pandemic is not something that could be solved piece by piece. It,
Oo,
it, it has to be holistic kasi, di ba,
tama.
parang paano rin naman magfo-focus yung mga bata sa pag-aaral or mga teachers, for example, when they're worried about, like food, 'di ba, yung
Tama.
basic
Stress.
needs, stress. Yeah,
Oo.
so at this time we are training a new batch of fellows. So we have our
Oo.
summer institute. Summer na move na nga siya. Pero belated summer
Training
na
pa
yung
rin.
yung training. So they are
Oo.
going to be deployed in August. So yun yung target namin. We've been training them since the last week of June. But we recognize that there's still, sabi mo, steep learning curve, even for the students and for the facilitators or
Oo.
for the teachers. So kailangan kaya natin mag-collaborate. And when we talk about collaboration, that means being able to give space for ideas, but at the same time allow for flexibility when we see that it's not
Yon, flexibility.
working. Mm,
True, true. Oo, oo. Yun pala, I think flexibility might be a challenge.
yeah.
At least, no? So, why did I say that? Um, when I do interviews sometimes dun sa mga ibang teachers, they sometimes feel that masyado silang tali with the words written on the rubrics or at least on the policies.
Mhm.
So, in a way, nandun sila sa gitna. Okay, gusto kong pagbigyan itong bata. Pero hindi kasi ito yung nandito na nakasulat. So, how do we balance flexibility but at the same time following what is written doon sa rules or policies?
Mhm. In my personal opinion, I think we have,
Personal opinion, yes.
yes, kasi, it's always like a very difficult, question.
Totoo
Parang
yan.
chicken and
Oo.
egg. Okay, ano ba? Ano
Yes,
bang
yes.
kaya kong
Oo
i-adjust?
nga eh.
But at the
Paano
same
ka-adjust?
time,
Yes.
yeah, we know what we need to target. Yun. But
Yes.
in my personal opinion, I think we have to go back to our values. What do we value more?
Yes.
Because at this point in time, I think even DepEd recognizes now we can't target everything.
Tama.
They've even had to compress. So I don't know if you're familiar, Jeff,
Yeah.
but they already did. they revised and selected
What do you call that
essential
again? The
learning
most essential
competencies.
learning.
Well,
Yes.
yes,
Oo.
because that I think that's an effort to say na what we really cannot target everything, or we
All
cannot.
the goals.
Yeah. So we need to really, chunk it. Ano ba talaga yung important sa atin ngayon?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's what I would also advise, for example, sa teachers. Ano po ba yung priority natin? And then, think about like adjustments. Halimbawa, si student, baka naman hindi, maybe like flexibility, for example, in the time frame to accomplish a task. Simple
Yes.
things like this, I think
Totoo yan.
is helpful in a way already. And it also shows that we really are trying to understand the situation. And iba-iba naman kasing epekto ng pandemya sa atin, di ba?
Yes. I agree.
So, mahirap mahirap ipilit na, okay, kailangan dahil sinabi ganito, lahat tayo kailangan
Yung
one
lahat.
week lang,
Oo.
oo.
Tama,
Mm.
tama, tama, no? So that is something of value, no? Which is to recognize that everyone has been affected differently
Yeah.
by this pandemic, no? May magandang point si Cassiopeia dito, as always. Teachers need to know, need to be more adaptable and flexible, more innovative, open-minded, and responsive, no?
Agree,
Sabi rin
ma'am.
niya, about empathy. Empathy is a gift to understand, to be understood. Oo, tama. Maganda yan, no? Yun, no? So Lynette, ipasili po naman sa amin, let's say for example, what you teach the teachers when you go to different places. Yan.
Yeah. Okay. So, a day in the life of me,
Oh, yes.
disappearing and like, traveling. I think,
Traveling around the Philippines.
around the Philippines. So, what I would usually do in my work is to observe classes. So that's one of my main responsibilities in my job, to make sure that we are providing excellent education to our students, and that therefore we
Yes.
monitor the quality that they give, but at the same time, of course, help them afterwards. So I think that's what's unique about TFP's instructional coaching. We go there, we observe to monitor the quality of their teaching, but at the same time we coach them. So based on
Okay.
their performance, ano ba yung pwedeng strategy na i-try natin next time? Yon. So isa yon sa mga bagay na ginagawa ko kapag ako'y nag-visit sa ating mga partner schools.
So Lynette,
Mm.
no? So when you when you observe them,
Yeah.
is there a specific style ba
Mhm.
na tinuturo si TFP kay teacher? Meron
Mhm.
bang even to the point of teaching them how to stand in front of the students, umaabot ba sa ganon? How is it pa?
I wouldn't say that we advocate for, one specific approach, but what we are grounded on is our mission, or our vision, that it is inclusive, it's relevant, and it's excellent. So,
Okay.
the coaching is personalized. So, it adjusts. Isa-isa talaga siya. Kung 10 yung teacher ko na bibisitahin doon, 10 beses ako mag-o-observe para tingnan yung klase nila, and give them we call it a debrief after. One-on-one ulit yon na meeting para pag-usapan yung naging klase nila, and to find ways na, okay, ano ba yung nakita ko, ano yung perspective ni teacher, and
Aha.
then come up with the steps to improve together. So, hindi siya dictatorial na, sinabi ko ganito. Hindi. We co-create it. Kasi I know, and I wanna expound on that, kasi I know that I don't see everything. Mas sila yung nakakaalam sa context ng mga bata nila eh.
You're
Diba?
right.
Sila yung kasama everyday. So they have, it's important to listen to the teachers. Parang, ma'am, ito yung na-notice ko, parang ano po, I noticed na hindi sila masyado pang magaling sa multiplication, ganyan. O why kaya? Ano po kaya yung naging challenge nila prior? So you ask them. And I think
Ah,
that's what is the beauty of a personalized coaching, approach. But
Socratic ang
I
approach.
Yes. And I think yun din. So same naman siguro what you would in my observation sa mga classrooms ng TFT, very student-centered. Kasi syempre we want the
That's good.
students to be involved in their own learning. So, we try to challenge our teachers na ganun yung maging push nila. It advocates for critical thinking, higher order thinking skills. So, yon.
Okay. So you do a lot of coaching, yeah, you do a lot of mentoring.
Mhm.
So there's really no framework doon sa tipo. So when you go around, it's not really to teach as in teach like a lecture or a workshop. So it's
Mhm.
more like coaching them.
Um, we do coaching, but we also do training in the business.
Okay. So ikaw din
So,
yon.
yes, throughout the year, we call them the learning circle. So that's small training sessions that focuses on the competencies that we're trying to develop in our teachers. So, for
Yan, sige,
example,
I'd love to hear this.
um, yeah, so for example, may mga competencies kami that focuses on, building relationships,
Hmm,
ganyan. So,
good.
kasama yon sa tinitrain namin sa kanila. So, we would conduct these small sessions, usually conducted, when we visit, or sometimes even ngayon, online na rin siya. Ginagawa na rin namin siya online. But we gather the
Cut
teacher
yata siya.
fellows.
Okay.
Hello? Yeah.
Yan. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Okay,
Okay.
yan, okay na.
So, yon. And then, but we also have a separate team. We have a training team na nagbibigay naman sa kanila ng mas more parang wide range or yung parang 3-day intensive training naman nila. So, we have that one we have that for summer, so that's what we're doing now for the new teacher fellows that we're hiring. We have it mid-year, so parang they get that mid-year of their first year, and then summer again, and then mid-year ulit. So may mga big training days din kami na handled by our
Ah,
training team.
okay. So when you train them to become leaders, no? Kasi baka
Mhm.
iba yung nasa isip ko ng leadership eh. Based doon sa leadership styles na tinuturo ninyo, no? So I want
Mhm.
to understand when you train them to become leaders, what are the competencies they develop?
Mhm. Um, Marami actually. Marami kasi siguro we're grounded in the belief that teaching is leadership. Na naniniwala kami doon na
Ah,
being a teacher, standing in front of the class, you're actually a leader. Leader ka ng mga bata eh. Leader ka, co-leader ka
correct.
ng mga katrabaho mo, ng mga co-teachers mo. So, yun, marami kaming competencies that focuses on many things eh. We focus on building relationships, we focus on systems thinking, o understanding. Dahil na-deploy kayo sa public school, ano ba yung system dyan? 'Di ba? Parang
Ah,
how does that operate? Kasi ano siya eh, system siya eh, 'di ba? May sistema yung public school.
right.
Yes, and what our hope is that their experience in the public school actually would
Uh-huh.
inform them. Hello, sorry,
Yeah, go
Jeff.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Yes, yes,
parang
I'm here.
the experience that they've had as a public school teacher or with the engagement with the public school, actually, ang goal namin is maging silang alumni that would also push for
Ah,
education reform. So, yun, parang
yon.
it's like building their context. Ano ba talaga to? Hindi lang tayo nag-reform na walang basis, 'di ba? Gusto natin from the field, contextualize yung na-experience nila. And happy to share that, for example, some of our alumni, actually, majority of our alumni are still in the education sector and working, in DepEd, policy making, in research. So, in education, parang organizations as well. Kasi, and then they use the experience that they've had in the fellowship to inform about the direction that they are, taking, or the reforms that they are advocating for.
Okay, thank you. Galing ah. So, okay. So, once you go to a specific place,
Mhm.
okay, kailan ka babalik ulit doon to see that there has been an improvement?
We do our visits quarterly, so once a quarter for each of our placements. Um, yeah, so ganun din yung mga observations namin. Usually quarterly siya. Sometimes we do more, depending on what we see. But usually, ganun, parang once a quarter visit. Then, they would come back for like summer. Ngayon, medyo challenged kami doon kasi bago yung year.
Correct.
So,
Oo.
mm-mm.
Okay. To help the teachers move forward, so kasi naputol yung taon eh. Hindi 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 natuloy nung summer. So
Mm.
so how do you do your trainings now over paano online na siya?
Online na siya, yes. So,
So
we've
paano yung mga
migrated.
paano yung mga places na hindi maabot ng internet? I'm sure may mga napuntahan kang ganun.
Mm. Um, with our current fellows, we've provided, so, siguro that's one thing. In where we place, for
Yeah.
example, that's one of our parang parameters that there's
Okay.
somehow access. Kasi nga,
Okay.
yon. Pero for the other public schools, that's
Yes.
also a challenge talaga. Pero
Oo.
sa ngayon, limited din kami na we make sure na may access sa internet, or at least we would know, yeah, mostly naman parang may some sort of access. How stable? That's different. But
Oo.
yeah, what we do is we also make sure that there are alternatives to them. So, for example, yan, naputol online class, kanyan. Pwedeng recording para they can, watch it afterwards. Or maybe we give them like an alternative way, like readings, parang ganun. Nag-explore din kami actually kung paano siya long term.
Oo.
But so far, that's what we have in mind, and that's what we've been doing, like giving alternatives and not just relying on synchronous, kasi nga hindi ganun ka-stable talaga.
I see. Okay. Thank you. So, eto, may mga comments lang tayo. I'd like to put it here. Okay, there's one comment here from Kashipia. Thank you, Kashipia. No? Value mentoring and feedbacking. Students would like to listen and grow from it. Yeah, I think ito yung sinasabi ni Kashipia, yung kanina yung pinag-usapan natin when you go to schools and you do your
Mhm.
coaching and mentoring. I think ito yung context ng kanyang
Yeah.
shinare, no?
Yeah.
Si Harley Green and I are both from SDO Quirino Province. Okay, thank you. Hi. Si Bene naman is from Tanza, Cavite. So I wanna ask, no, yung mga nanonood ngayon na viewers, no. So ano yung mga leadership strategies nyo? Well, siguro personal leadership strategies that you will apply as teachers. I don't know, as if all of you are teachers, if not all teachers, what are the personal leadership strategies that you will apply so that you will be able to work well with your students, with your colleagues, no? Lynette, sa dami na interview namin dito,
Mm.
lagi lang sinasabi is to build the relationship with the
Yeah.
students, no?
Mhm.
Well, I think that is the one biggest takeaway in the 3 months, no, na ginagawa namin tong interviews na
Mm.
to.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask the viewers right now, how do you try to build relationships with your colleagues or students, no? Especially right now that you don't see each other face to face. Kasi dati ang
Mm.
bilis maggawa ng relationship eh, no? Magdala ka lang ng pagkain sa school, magdala ka lang ng pagkain sa office, automatic, there's
Yeah.
already a relationship there. But right now
Mm.
that, we communicate through Zoom, online, how do you now try to build relationship with your colleagues or students? At least in our son's school, I think a big chunk of what will happen during the first hour of their class is just on relationship building with one another, with the
Yeah.
teacher, students, parang kwentuhan lang sila, no? So yun, no? Tinatanong ko sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, what strategies will you implement? Okay. So, while waiting for their answers, so are there any other uh, tips, no, on moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
Kanina, ang question ko kanina is leadership strategies, no?
Mm-mm.
Uh, how do we now move forward, okay, uh, from from the situation, no? Or I guess my question is, do we want to make the students feel normal, or do we want to create a new environment already, so that new
Mm-mm.
environment will already feel normal?
Mm-mm. Um, okay, this is also very difficult kasi parang even I as a person, no, adjusting to this whole scenario.
Oh,
I think what I, personally reflected on is one, it's important pa rin to have a sense of consistency. Parang
okay.
people need that.
Habits.
Habits, 'di ba? But at the same time, I also see the pandemic as an opportunity to innovate, to really
Yes.
think about, okay, maybe, in my personal opinion, gusto ko din pag-isipan yung ano bang klaseng education yung ipa-prioritize natin, no?
Yes.
Ano ba yung kailangan talaga ng mga bata ngayon? Kasi, when I started teaching, for example, I remember very clearly that in my teacher education program, there's a lot of focus on 21st century skills.
Which are ano ba sila?
Oo, di ba? Critical thinking yan, madami yan. Mga,
Oo.
pro higher order thinking skills, etc. Kailangan, creative ka, collaborative ka. Pero napapaisip din ako, and this is a personal reflection of mine, have we given, enough maybe emphasis on empathy?
Oh.
Sabi nila maganda daw na ituro yun ngayon sa ganitong
Yes.
situation. To empathize with each other, to learn how to empathize with the people around you, with your co-students, with your co-teachers, with your leaders.
Oo.
Kasi ano yun mahalaga yun ngayon parang people need that support. Sabi mo nga, it's challenging to build relationships. But
Yes.
I feel that being physically distant should not hinder us from empathizing with each other's situation.
I
And
agree.
I wonder if that's something that we can add on to the education na pinupush natin sa ngayon. More
Oo.
than just learning critical thinking, maybe also social-emotional learning, empathy, di ba?
Oo nga. Doon
Yun.
ba sa doon ba sa 21st century, what's this? 21st century, what's the title? 20,
Skills, 21st century
yeah. May,
skills,
may, may
oo.
empathy, may empathy ba doon?
Well, it's been evolving, pero hindi pa
Yeah.
ganun. I would
Hindi
say
pa,
na,
no?
oo, very recent pa yung mga
Di,
um, data,
kasi
ay,
mga creative thinking, critical thinking,
oo,
data
parang,
analytics, mga ganun, ano? Although,
yeah,
although those are important
it is.
aspects, no? Those are very important aspects. But the very foundation, I think, tama si Lynette, of creativity is empathy.
Mm.
We create something for the purpose, for a useful purpose. So dapat
Mm-mm.
may marunong ka mag-empathize doon. Di ba?
Yeah.
You think critically for what? To make decisions that affect others.
Mm-mm.
Again, empathy ang foundation, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Data analytics, it may talk about numbers, but then again, at the end of the day, the decision is made, and the affected are of that decision are people. So again,
Yeah.
empathy pa rin, no? So yes, I think I totally agree that we need to learn how to empathize. It's not easy. it's not sympathy, no?
It's not, yes.
Actually ang hirap i-explain. Kaya siguro ang hirap ituro kasi ang hirap i-explain. Hindi siya
Mm,
mercy, hindi siya pity, hindi rin siya
mm,
sympathy,
mm,
no? So iba siya,
mm,
no? So basahin ko lang 'to sinabi ni Cassiopeia. Leadership is valuing honesty and integrity both for teacher and students.
mm.
Relationship building is through facilitating the thoughts and feelings of students, grounding on kamustahan and sharing before the lesson presentation. Thank you. Tama,
Yes,
no?
thank you.
Oh,
Mm.
very very
I
valuable
agree,
'yon.
ma'am. Oo, Ma'am Cassiopeia, maganda yung na-share niya na parang power of kamustahan.
Yes.
Kasi 'di ba, in a regular classroom, madali mong makamusta yung mga bata eh, kasi marami kayong informal interaction. But,
Correct.
you know, this time, kailangan talaga intentional siya. Binibigyan mo ng space na maybe not so much na mag-i-input ka eh, but
Correct.
maybe just a space to ventilate.
Wow.
There's so many articles ngayon about how this pandemic is affecting our mental health, right?
Correct.
But something we also have to recognize, the students, they
Totoo.
also are struggling, no?
May mental health
Um,
concerns din.
yes. So, kailangan mabigyan yun ng space. Paano ma-address ito, no? Paano natin maiintindihan kung ano yung pinagdadaanan nila? And that's through empathy.
Correct.
Putting ourselves in their shoes. And kapag ganito yung situation mo, how would you feel?
Totoo
Um,
'yon.
yeah, and acknowledging that they are having a hard time as well. I think it's not it's not just about, binilan natin ng laptop, binigyan natin ng tablet si teacher, si student, binigyan
Okay
natin siya
na.
ng internet connection, okay na. I don't think that solves everything.
I agree.
Kailangan pa rin talagang pag-isipan yung different support that they might need.
Yes, tama. Agree. Tama, tama. Good points there, Lynette. Okay. Any last words from you, Lynette? Anything you'd like to share? Some more tips before we end the program?
Mhm. Um, Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I think for me, to my co-educators there, to my mga nasa field, I also would like to share na we also have to be kind to ourselves, no? We can't solve everything all at once. So it's important that you acknowledge that, you are giving your best, you're trying. So
Yes.
wag masyado naman din i-beat up ang sarili.
Correct.
But at the same time, I hope na we also work together. This pandemic is really pushing people to their limits. And
Correct.
we need each other more than ever. So I hope lahat po tayo magtulong-tulungan, whether you're in the education sector or not. We all need to do our part for our community, for our country.
Yan. Lynette, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. To
Thank
all
you,
the
Jeff.
viewers, you're welcome. To all the viewers, maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat.
Okay. More power to you and more power to TFP. Okay, may pahabol dito ha. From Doan. Very practical insights from Lynette and our viewers tonight. Thank you, Doan.
Salamat po.
Si Miss Synthesis. Yan. Yan. Kaibigan
Maraming
namin yan si
salamat po
Doan
sa
eh.
pakikinig.
Remarkable keywords in tonight's session are observation. Wow, Doan, salamat ha. Sa iyong sa pag-synthesize ng topic tonight. Being hands-on, empathy, and building and keeping relationships. More power to us educators in this new normal. And yes, at least we are trying. Yes,
Yes, saludo
Doan.
po sa lahat ng teachers na talagang trying their best to navigate this new normal. Kayo po ay talagang frontliner. We will share that to our teachers. Frontliner din kayo
Totoo yan.
sa ganitong situation. So, maraming salamat po sa trabaho ninyo.
Yes, oo. Just want to share with you, Lynette, and to our viewers, no? I shared a very short status on Whole Brain Kay Husay page earlier this evening. Well, I said there that if we want to go, if we have a vision and we want to go from where we are and where we want to be, laging
Mm-mm.
sinasabi sa atin is take action eh. Laging automatic is you have to take action, you have to take action.
Yeah.
But then I realized na, okay, tama nga naman, you have to take action. Pero,
Mm-mm.
again, it has to be number one, the right action, and you have to take action with someone helping you. And I guess now is the right time to practice this, no? Kasi
Mm-mm.
we were taught to be very independent. We forget about the others. But then again, the only way we can get from point A to point B is with the help of the others, no? So,
Mm-mm.
yan. So, maraming salamat. Good night to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
also. Sorry, Jeff, can I just plug na konti
Yes.
lang?
Go ahead.
Just want to say thank you also to, people from different sectors who are also helping
Oh, yes.
provide ganitong mga klaseng conversations, teaching maraming mga organizations na nag-share din ng kanilang knowledge. There are also, I know, friends, maybe we can add that in the Kayhusay
Oh, yes.
website na
Yes.
nag-share sila ng mga teachers for teachers ang tawag
Oh,
nila, 'di ba?
sige.
Nag-share sila ng mga tips paano makapag-navigate sa ganito. So sharing of best
Sure.
practices will go a long way. So maraming salamat po sa patuloy na pagta-try at pag-share talaga ng inyong time and effort.
All right. Lynette, again, thank you very much, ha? Good night
Thank
sa'yo.
you. Thank
And
you,
ingat
Jeff.
ka.
Good
Stay
night
safe.
to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yes, same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. All right. So that was Lynette. Thank you very much. Well, basahin ko na lang yung mga ilang nag-send ng status dito. Si Kashipia. Yippee, thank you. Congrats. Keep up in creating a difference in your life and to others. Love, love. Si Bene, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Thanks kay Husay and Miss Lynette for sharing thoughts and ideas regarding our new normal education as always. Yes, salamat sa iyo, Bene. Yippee, congrats. Continue in creating difference to yours. Okay. Rebecca, thank you very much for that very informative and very interesting topic. Yes, God bless. God bless you too. Well, again, good night to everyone. Thanks for watching. It has been a wonderful Sunday. It has been a wonderful week. It has been a very busy week for every one of us. And well, I wish you a great week this coming week. No, if you have parents, no, meaning to say yung mga parents ng inyong mga estudyante, do invite them here. Share our program, so hopefully they understand what is happening. That's one. And number two, that they can also learn how we some principles in what we do, no? Yes, si Harley Green from Quirino, thank you very much for providing a very informative topic this night. Keep it up. Maraming salamat sa iyo, Harley Green. Maraming salamat sa iyo. And thank you so much, sir, for the nice informative topic. Yes, Raquel, maraming salamat. Si Kashipia, thank you. Good night. Keep safe always. Likewise, Kashipia, and to all your kapitbahays there in CDO. So, with that, maraming salamat sa inyo. Good night. All right, so good night, everyone. Okay, good evening.